Hi students, it's Ms. Boley here. So I'm going to show some tips for drawing a plan for your building, your bridge building. So my first tip, I'm just using a pencil, but I have gathered all of these other materials that I think I might want to use for my bridge. So the reason why I'm doing this is so that I can think about what the materials are going to be when I actually build my bridge. So when I'm making my sketch, I want to have in mind, okay, what is this going to be made out of? What is that part going to be made out of? I'm going to want to have that in mind. So that's why I've gathered some materials just to have near me as I'm drawing. So then I'm gonna start drawing, and my first tip is, oops, I just need to make that one a little bit bigger. So my first tip number 1, is to draw simple shapes. So we don't need to make our drawing look like exactly what it's going to be in the final bridge that I'm going to build. So for this, I'm just using these simple rectangles to represent my Pringles containers. So I've labeled them, which leads us into tip number 2, which is, oops, my cat is interrupting our lesson. Sorry about that. Tip number 2, which is to label your drawing. See you later, buddy. You gotta go. All right, so we're gonna label our drawings so that we know what each thing is meant to be made out of, or kind of some ideas for what it could be made out of. We don't have to stick to that if we try it out and it doesn't work, but we're gonna label our drawing just so that whoever is helping us out, if it's our learning coach or our teacher, they have an idea of what you're actually trying to do. What are we trying to build here? Okay. So these are, I'm building sort of a suspension type bridge is what I have in mind, just from those materials. And that bottom part is going to be made out of cardboard, the place where the cars would drive. And those pillars are going to be made out of these wooden sticks that I have, those ones that I showed earlier. Those are actually they're chopsticks for eating takeout food. And then those are meant to represent paper clips. I'm planning on paper clipping those onto the cardboard. And that leads me to my third tip, which is you don't need to be perfect. We're not aiming for a beautiful, colored, finished drawing here. A planning sketch is just meant to be something that helps you get your ideas out on paper and think about the process that you're going to be going through in order to build this thing. So it's not meant to be something that's perfect. You don't need to color it. And it's going to be super simple. It's not going to take a long time. And this video isn't sped up at all. So I really only took about 5 minutes to do my planning sketch. I did do some thinking ahead of time though, when I was going to gather some of those materials. So again, with this suspension type bridge, I'm gonna have some string, some of that yarn, and I'm going to have it starting up at those wooden sticks and going down to the paper clips and then up to the other wooden sticks. So that's my basic plan. And then I'm also gonna wanna think about how am I going to attach these materials together? So I have an idea of using some masking tape and maybe tying the string onto the wooden sticks. So when you're doing your planning sketch, try to think about, that's my tip number 4, is think about how might I attach my materials together. Am I going to use masking tape? Am I going to use hot glue? Am I going to do elastic bands? Is there some other method of attaching that I can think of? Maybe just regular white glue. All right, so those are my tips, and I hope that helped. Can't wait to see your planning sketches.